So I was minding my own business, and my Bible app started playing on its own. It just started playing. And I particularly don't really like the voice on the Bible app. I feel like they should give you options. Maybe you should even be able to say something like talk for a minute. I'm about to give somebody an intervention. You should be able to talk for like a minute in your own voice. And then the Bible app should be able to convert the words to your voice. That would be amazing. That would be amazing. I just gave one of you texts out there an idea. But anywho, I was listening to the Bible app, and then I cut it off because I don't like to listen to it. I would rather read it myself. So I just started reading the book of Joshua because that's what came on. So I just read it until I was full, basically. And so I learned something. So to know me is to know that my favorite biblical character is Moses for so many reasons. I've been in love with Moses since I was a child. When I got my first dog, or the first dog that I thought was mine and it was really my daddy's, another story. I got my first dog in, I want to say it was 95 or 96. I don't know. I think it was 95. It could have even been 94. Somewhere between 94, 95, 96. 4, 5, 6 years old. I got my first dog and I named him Moses. Now, at 4 years old, I was able to read. And my mom had this little mini Bible. It was little. It was maybe like 4.5. It wasn't bigger than 5 inches. And I always was so infatuated with it that I thought it was for me. Like I was a little kid and I thought the little mini Bible was for me. So because I was able to read, I would read this Bible as a kid. Like not even in first grade yet, I would read this Bible. And so I remember coming up on learning about Moses as a child, not really understanding everything, but I remember reading and knowing the name of Moses and knowing his story as a child. So nonetheless, I named my first dog Moses. So I'm not ashamed to say that I wasn't familiar with the biblical teaching after Moses passed on, like that particular journey. And so as I'm reading the book of Joshua, I now know that Joshua basically carried the torch, so to speak, that he continued on, because we know that Moses, he was promised that he would see the promised land, but he was not going to be able to go forward. He would not enter, and he died. So after Moses dies, Joshua is the man. You know, he's the man in charge. And I'm going to do a podcast on this, and it's going to be multiple series, but it's been something in my spirit lately, and it's basically saying pick a side. It's been saying pick a side, and that's in everything. That is as simple as black and white. Like no gray area. You have to pick a side. You got to pick a team. We just got done with the NBA finals. You couldn't root for the Raptors and for Golden State. Even if you didn't care for either team, if either of those teams weren't your favorite pick, maybe your team got knocked out. But if you're a basketball fan, you had to pick a side. Y'all feel me? You have to pick a side. And I feel the urge to tell people that you have to pick a side. And a lot of times, people will be offended with truth. That's just what it is. That's what it does. And you just have to be okay with that. People are okay with truth, but you have to understand that you just can't do whatever. You can't. It's so dangerous. You can't do whatever. And you can't rock with whoever. It's a dangerous place to be. You have to pick a side. So back to the story about Joshua. So what I learned is that, they carried on the torch and they were moving forward to take over the land that God had promised them. So they were taking over the promised land. And I think I was amazed at the numbers. This is just information that I didn't know before, at the amount of men that were a part of a particular army. So I remember in one verse, Joshua had sent about 40,000 40,000 men to overtake a land. We got a net in here. Joshua had sent about 40,000 men to overtake a particular land. And I just thought that was like crazy. Like, I'm sitting here trying to imagine, like, man, 40,000. I don't know why when I think about biblical days, I picture about 1,500 people. Like, that's it. It wasn't too many people around. But 40,000 men sent there into battle. And I'm just sitting here thinking, like, it's so important to pick a side. You have to pick a side. And that's what I'm saying. You can't just be in the middle of the road, because the team that you choose to be on determines your destiny. The team that you choose to root for determines your destiny. Your destiny. Your destiny is attached to your team. Your destiny is attached to your team. Your blessing is attached to your team. Your breakthrough is attached to your team. Your healing is attached to your team. Your life is connected through the God that you serve. You gotta pick a side. You can't just be middle of the road. It's so dangerous. It's a dangerous place to be. And I'm going to go back and read, because I read like Joshua, the first chapter to like the 8th chapter, and then my eyes got tired. But I got so much from that, and it was basically like, you have to pick a side. You have to choose. You can't stay hidden. For those of you who are called and you know that you are chosen to do something, don't get scared. Don't think that you have to know so much, or you have to be on a particular level, because those people that challenge you are those people who have self-convictions of the information that you're sharing. And that's okay. It's supposed to happen. They're supposed to go home and think about what you said. They're supposed to, their spirit's supposed to be ruffled, not offended by you, but, the holiness that you spoke, the truth that you spoke, the facts that you spoke, even if it was tough love, they're supposed to think about those things later on. It's important that you choose a side. Now, some of us have been hiding. Some of us have been, spiritual. Some of us will, claim God and deny Jesus. This wasn't even where I was going, y'all, but you have to choose a side. It's important. And granted, you have free will. You have free will to choose whatever team that you want to choose. You can root for whoever you want to root for. You can pray to whoever you want to pray to. But understand that there are connections, there are consequences, there are blessings, there are devils, there are obstacles, there are breakthroughs on either side. You got to choose a side. Because I know that I chose the victory side. That I want to be on the winning team. I don't want to be overthrown. I don't want to be outran. I don't want to be outnumbered. I'm on the winning team. And so I just challenge you. I challenge you to make a decision and choose a side. That's all I'm going to say. And that's in everything. You need to choose the right friends. You need to choose the right career. You need to choose the right side hustle. It's some of y'all, like, you getting money the wrong way. You're so blessed. You so talented. Use the gifts that you have the proper way and choose a side. That's all I'm going to say today.